It's really hard to talk with this huge smile on my face because we've been trying to get this started for so long, dude.
For
and
sure.
Now that we're
for
actually
sure.
going. Gosh, for those of you that are tuning in, my name's Rob, and I'm on here with Parker, and this is the Loud Rooster Podcast. This is Season 1, Episode 1.
The pilot.
This is the pilot. Oh, we're the pilot. Hopefully it'll take off. This is the pilot. This is the first time we'll see. There's no crashing and burning. We are off and running. We're still getting some kinks figured out, but we didn't want to wait any longer. We wanted you guys to be able to, just be a part of what we're doing as soon as possible, and we didn't want to wait any longer, so we decided to go for it. So, Parker, I appreciate your patience.
No, man, everything you've done, I'm thankful. I'm excited also. Like you said, the smile on our face, even though it's been a couple months, I'm excited to get this ball rolling and have you alongside with me on this, Rob.
Yeah. So like I said, this is the Loud Rooster Podcast, and we kind of want to go through some beginning things here and kind of explain to everybody what this is. Kind of
what it's going to be.
Yeah, what it's going to be, who we are, and just why we wanted to do this, because it's quite a story. I mean, it's crazy how Parker and I came together on this because we both found ourselves in the same place in many ways, looking for a lot of the same things, but then also realizing that a lot of the things we were looking for weren't there yet. So we decided to come together and make it ourselves. And hopefully because I firmly believe, and I think you do too, Parker, that there are other people out there that are looking for the same thing. That we are.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I should say let's start off with yesterday, right? Or day before yesterday, we're doing some audio testing, and we need to bring in a friend just to make sure it works when we have guests on the show. So my buddy Shane popped in and posed both Rob and myself with a fantastic question. And it was, hey guys, why are you doing this? And he didn't mean it maliciously, but he meant it as in like, hey, tell me your story. I might want to listen too.
Yeah.
And then it posed us with the question of, I guess, what's our deal, right? So Rob and I kind of sat on that for a minute and then thought about it, and it brings us to our first major topic here on the Loud Rooster Podcast, and that's what made us want to do this.
Yeah. So the Loud Rooster Podcast, right? The rooster is a wake up call to everybody, and we Parker and I have experienced several different kinds of wake up calls in our life. One of them I think is pretty common when you realize that your health isn't where it should be. You realize you are not being active. You're not eating the things that you need to eat. And, maybe the doctor was a part of that wake-up call with some bad blood work or just realizing you're getting old and your clothes aren't fitting and you can't walk down the street without getting winded and all these different things. There are wake-up calls throughout our life when it comes to health and just general well-being. So that was a big wake-up call. But the huge part of why we decided to do this and why I reached out we'll get into when I reached out to Parker in a little bit, but in my fitness journey, I've had I've dealt with a lot of uh, things like thought distortions, um, confidence in what I'm doing. Is it worth it? Am I worth it? Like, is it ridiculous for me to think that I could lose weight, that I could be healthy, um, and realizing, waking up to the fact that I'm my own worst enemy. Like,
For
I'm
sure.
so willing to talk myself out of doing something that's good for me, or for some reason I think that there's something in my DNA that makes me different than every other person in the entire world. That uh, you know, calories in, getting that balance right, where I'm burning more calories during the day than I'm bringing in. That somehow I am different, and that's not going to allow me to lose weight and get in better shape and be healthier. Um, so that's one of the big things that we want to talk about is, one, acknowledge, because I know that there's other people out there that are
Oh,
feeling the
for
same
sure.
way,
For
that
sure.
that just feel like um, that no matter what they do, they're not going to lose weight. So what's the point of even trying? Or they get off to a great start, and they go for it for a couple of weeks and they see some progress, and then something happens, whether it's some legit circumstance that stops you from being able to work out that day, or you're on
Yeah.
a work trip and you eat something that you shouldn't eat, and then you start thinking, well, if I'm gonna fail, then what's the point of even
Or,
trying?
or even worse, you're working for multiple weeks and kicking your ass, and
Yeah,
then you don't get anything, right?
yeah,
And I think that happens especially when people are similar to us, right? That you've you've s- you've seen yourself work so hard and don't see anything for it, and that can be so discouraging, especially for people that that's not their norm, right? And that's why we get in these places.
yeah,
That's why we get in these places. So I I think a big part of why, well, when Rob reached out to me, and we'll kind of get into that a little bit later, but I think the part of me that was like, yeah, let's do this, was that there's not, you see the success stories, you see the end of the rainbow, so to say, but you don't see the journey along the path. And I think because both Rob and myself are going through a journey
yeah.
of making ourselves better, I won't just say weight loss because it's
Right.
it's
Yeah.
so many more things than weight loss. But the journey needs to be talked about more often. There's not a big place in that. I talk about it all the time on my streams about how we need to lift up people who are going on that journey that aren't at the top. Those are the people that should be celebrated the most.
Hmm.
And if we start to change that culture of when you see a big person in the gym, lift them up on a pedestal, you end up getting a much better community out of it and a much better success rate out of things, right?
Yeah.
Other than the just I bought my uh I bought my gym membership for, one of the major gyms, and 2 weeks into the new year, I'm done.
Hmm.
How often does that happen?
Well,
Every
I
single year,
I
right?
wanna I wanna talk more about that, and like possibly what are the possible reasons why that happens, because it is a super common story. So much so that the people that go to the gyms that are consistently in gyms all throughout the year, they know at the beginning of the year there's going to be a lot of folks that sign up. The gym's going to be crowded. Your machines, your weights, all that's going to be. You're going to have to wait longer. But the joke is, we just got to give them a little bit, and then they'll fall off.
Yeah,
So
the I don't go to the gym in January. I
yeah.
figured something else to do because I'm a regular gym rapper.
So um, because I deal with the thought distortions and just negative thinking and all this, like I began to search for positivity, and there's a reason why transformations are so amazing to look at. Like it, because we see when somebody shares their transformation story, we see um, where they began, but we see the success at the end, right? And And what Parker and I have noticed is that there's a lot of success stories on social media, on YouTube, and they're inspiring, dude. Like I love watching them. There's some folks that I follow, but that
Absolutely.
I they're all after the fact, and so much of what I struggle with is day to day in the middle of the grind, um, convincing myself that I am worth it, that I can trust the process and it's going to work. That I'm not like, you know, there's nothing about me that's going to cause these things to not work. They're like there's these crazy things that I tell myself, and I talk myself out of eating right, and I talk myself out of working out. Um, so there's a lot of things. There's a lot of stories out there that are looking back on their journey. And Parker and I wanted to do a podcast um, of two guys talking about being in the middle of their journey, and we want to celebrate with each other, but also with you guys listening, our accomplishments.
For sure.
And one thing I'm really excited about is as we grow and we get more listeners and folks start to share their stories with us, like we want to celebrate what you're doing. Like that's the whole. Like I can call Parker on the phone or FaceTime him and talk about the things that I'm excited about and the things that I'm struggling with. But the whole reason that we're doing this is because we want to spread that joy and spread that love to other folks that are in the same place that we are, and we want them to know that they're not alone.
You are not alone.
I might have to take that out and post either that or add it to the theme song because
Yeah, but
I'll be honest, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
okay, well that's good.
You did,
That's good.
you did great.
We're talking about our journeys. That might be my musical journey also, right? So I guess let's start off with Rob. Let's tell the listeners kind of our stories, and I'll let
Yeah.
you go first. But
Okay.
what's Rob's story when it comes to kind of where you are mentally and where you are physically and where you have been? Because I think that's important to know not only our successes, right, but also a bit of our failures, because that's as much as the journey and the story
Yeah.
is the positives. So
Well, um, right now I am because we are on video. Just to give you an idea of who and what I am, I'm about 6 foot tall, and this morning I weighed in at 377 pounds. My heaviest was 415 pounds. So this recent um, inspired weight loss health journey has really allowed me to lose some weight. But I've always been I've always been on the heavier side. Little kid, I was I wouldn't say I was chubby or anything, but as I grew into the closer I got to puberty, um, I started growing wider before I started growing taller, and
I think back in the day they used to call that size husky, right? I remember
yes,
the
yes,
husky
I
jeans
was
that I had to get.
I was definitely husky. Um, so when I hit puberty and I really started growing taller, I was skateboarding. I was skateboarding every day, so I got pretty thin. I had played football a little bit and basketball and baseball, and so I was pretty active. But um, I mean, after high school, I wasn't I really wasn't doing anything, so I just started putting on weight. And the first time I ever kind of tried to get a hold of my health, I started at 265 pounds. I was like, oh, this is ridiculous. So I started working out, and I was working out every day. Worked out every day. I um, never came off my diet. And back then, I was basically eating chicken and rice 6 times a day. Um, I was working third shift, so I'd go to work and I would microwave, raw frozen chicken fingers until they were cooked. And I may have microwaved any nutritional value out of them at all because I wanted to make sure that they were done. So and then I would
Uh,
and then minute rice and then I would dump salsa on it, and I literally ate that. Well, I probably ate that 4 times a day with two protein shakes. And I was losing weight, dude. I got down to 220. I could dunk a basketball. I could, I had all these goals that I set out. I could do pull ups. I could do dips. Dips was something I could never do before. Where if you don't know what dips are, you're holding yourself up on these two bars with your hands down to your side, and you kind of lower yourself down, and then push yourself back up again. Using your tricep and your chest.
major tricep
Yeah.
workout. Yeah.
So I couldn't do that, and then I was pumping those out. It was awesome. You could see the veins in my arms, and it was cool. I was working third shift. I'd go and work out and come home and go to sleep. Then I'd get up and go coach volleyball. Um, it was cool, man. And then my brother got married, and and this is the thing about
And you're a
habits.
twin, so I
Yeah,
think that's
yeah.
important to add.
My twin brother was getting married. I was the best man, and we talk about breaking habits. I was in the habit, like, every day I was doing this, and we had the rehearsal dinner, so I was up for like 36 hours straight because the rehearsal, I was used to being up all night. The rehearsal dinner was in during the day, so I had to work. I went and worked out, then went to the rehearsal dinner, and then took a short little nap, and then had to go back to work. And the next time it came to go to the gym, dude, I was done. I couldn't keep my eyes open, so I skipped the gym. The first time I skipped the gym in like 4 months,
Yeah.
and I can't even talk about how, like, I can't tell you how much that affected me. It was weird. It was just like I was beating myself up because I didn't go to the gym that one time in 4 months. And then the rehearsal dinner obviously wasn't on my diet, so I was eating whatever. Family was in town. We were going to all these places to eat and stuff. So once my workouts, once I skipped that workout, slowly everything just started to fall apart, and I gained a bunch of weight. And obviously I gained more weight um,
Then
than
you
what I had
lost.
lost. So now, so at that point I was in like the 320, 330 pound range. Um,
You know what's crazy to me on that part of the story is that there is a specific day that threw you off that you can remember, and that was how many years ago?
oh yeah, no, yeah, that was
And,
20.
and,
It was 22 years ago.
22 years, and there's a specific time that you failed one time that not only has affected you so much that you remember that one day that you didn't go to the gym that threw you off, and next thing, series of events kind
Yeah.
of turned it back. That's
Well,
crazy.
and here's the thing, like, um, and I'll be honest. I want to hear your story too, Parker. But we might have to wait till the second episode because I don't want you to be short. But you know, but we'll figure that out. But anyway, um, but yeah, but here's the thing, dude. I know that there could be some folks that are listening to this and be like, well, it was one day. Like you were mentally weak and all this stuff. Whatever it was, okay, that was 22
No, I
years
mean,
ago. I can't I can't go back and fix that, and it impacted me, and it has impacted me ever since because I look back on that time when I had worked so hard,
yeah.
um, and I've always been worried that it was going to happen again. So fast forward to it was kind of up and down, exercising here and there a little bit until I got to 2017. Oh no, sorry, 2014, 2015. Um, I started hearing about CrossFit,
Yeah.
and
The big
um,
boom of CrossFit
yeah,
around that
so
time.
there's a CrossFit gym that was right down the road from my house, and they had this. My wife, I think, found it. It was a Groupon where you could go 14 classes, and it was like, I don't know, $40. So I was like, oh, cool. I'm gonna go
That's
try
a
to.
killer deal.
Yes, for CrossFit, absolutely, because it is super expensive. Um, so I went and checked it out, and dude, I loved CrossFit so much just because of mainly because of the community. I love community. I
Oh,
love
for sure.
getting together, which was just part of the reason why I'm really excited about what we're doing. I love people coming together with uh, with the same goals, the same uh, drive, ready to encourage each other, just that like mindset. And I also love suffering together with people, and then winning together with people. So the last day of that 2 weeks, we were um, squatting, and the workout of the day for the weightlifting part was to see what your 1 rep max was for squat. So I'm squatting, and I did I did 295, and I was excited about that, and it felt really good. So I was like, well, let's. I put 315 on there, and I went down, and it felt good, and I started to come up, and I felt a pop in my quadricep, and so I
Mm.
tossed the weight off and just fell straight to the ground, and I partially had partial. I went to end up going to the doctor. Had partially torn my quadricep. Had to take a couple of weeks off, but um, the day that like I went to the doctor that morning, she told me I had a partially torn quadricep and that I needed to take a couple of weeks off. I was like, okay. I drove immediately to the bank and pulled out enough money to pay for a full year at CrossFit because it was unbelievable. And it was the first time I'd felt so motivated and driven because I'd met these great people and I didn't want to let them down. Um, so I did that. And CrossFit, man, I got injured a lot. Like
Oh yeah, it's part of it.
I was constantly coming back from injury after injury, and that can take a toll on you mentally. Like it's just hard. And
Oh, it takes us long.
I got down to the low 300s, and I started CrossFit at about probably 370, 380, something like that, and got down to the low 300s. Memorial Day of 2017. Every Memorial Day, CrossFit gyms across the world they do. It's called the Murph,
The Murph.
right? So you run a mile, and then it's what 300 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, or 300 push-ups, 200 pull-ups, and 100
Burpees, right?
squats,
Okay.
and then you run another mile.
Yeah,
So
it's craziness.
I had taken time off because I had tendonitis in my knees, and my first workout back, they were doing the Murph, and so my coach said, "You should do the Smurf." They call it the Smurf challenge. So
This small Murph, is that what that
right.
is?
So basically, it's everything is scalable within CrossFit. So if you can't do pull-ups, then there's something. There's something else for you to do. If you can't do that, then there's something easier that you can do. It all works the same muscles, and the idea is to build up. Right. So you're still getting the right workout. It's just the movement is changed a little bit. So I couldn't do pull-ups um, or any of that. So because of my knees also she had me rowing, so I rowed half a mile, and then I cut everything in half, so I was doing 150 push-ups. um, Pull-ups I was doing like the banded rows with like the TRX things and the handles.
Cables or what?
Yeah,
Straps. Yeah.
so I got through that, and the next day, dude, when I got done, my arms were swollen. Not like, oh, I'm pumped, but like swollen. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh, something. I'm a little worried. So 3 days go by, and my arms aren't. They're still swollen, and I have limited movement. Like I can't straighten them, and I can't bend them all the way. They were just stuck at 90 degrees. And
You were a Lego action figure.
yeah, so I called my doctor and I was like, "Hey, I need to come in because I had heard stories about rhabdomyolysis, right? Which is you see it a lot in car accident victims and earthquake survivors because
Really?
they get crushed. When the limb or a muscle gets crushed, it releases everything within the muscle cell gets released into the bloodstream, and it can cause kidney failure and all these different things. Well, it happens a lot with any kind of intense workout, but within CrossFit, um, you know, because it does happen in CrossFit. So I was aware of it and knew what some of the symptoms were, and told my doctor, "Is like, look, I need to get checked out." And he was fighting me on. He's like, "Well, what makes you think blah blah blah?" I'm like, "Look, we need to do it." He's like, "Well, come in, um, and we'll take a look." So I did, and he's like, "I want to do a urine test." I'm like, "No, doc, we need to do a blood test." And he's like, "Well, what makes you think you have rhabdo?" And I'm just like, "Look," he kept fighting me, dude. I was like, "Look, I'm either you're either going to do the blood test for this, or I'm going to go somewhere else and have it done. But I'm having the blood test done today." So he did my blood. Went
Hmm.
home, and I went to work the next day. And it was like 8:30 in the morning. I get a call from the doctor. He says, "You need to go to the hospital immediately." So
Really?
what they test for is, and I know I'm going to butcher this, creatine kinase or something like that. CK is what they call it. CK levels in your blood. Um, and normal, I think, is around 200, and mine was like 14, 15,000.
Oh,
So he's like, "You need to go to the hospital." So I go to the hospital. I was in the hospital for 4 days, just getting fluids, and you know, finally those CK levels go down, and so basically, what I'd worked my arm muscles to the point where the muscle cells, like part of building muscle is your muscle does tear a little bit and they rebuild stronger, but like I just totally destroyed parts of
right.
my tricep, and
Mm.
so I had to take that off. Um, Time to recover from that, and then when I moved, I didn't want to spend more money on CrossFit. I'd rather just spend the money one time and have a great gym in my garage. So I did that and was working out. And about 2 weeks into working out at home, I woke up and my shoulder was just killing me. Like I couldn't move it. So I had to
Mm.
go to physical training for that, or what's it called?
Therapy.
Therapy, yeah,
Yeah.
physical therapy
Yeah.
for that. And it was just that was it, dude. I couldn't come back from another injury and only to re-injure myself. So I ballooned up to 415 pounds, eating whatever, and I kept thinking back to those 2 times, dude, when I was able to really focus and work out and lose weight, and I just let it all go. And my wife can attest, like if I spend any time thinking about that, I get so angry with myself, and it's just a downward spiral because then I'm like, if what's the point? And what's the point in trying this all over again if I'm just going to fail like I did 2 times before? And that's ridiculous to think that.
Yeah, because what if you don't try?
Right. Exactly. Okay. Somebody on the internet, and you'll hear me say that a lot because I can never remember exactly where saw things, but they said there's two pains in life. There's the pain of regret and the pain of success. So you're going to hurt either way. You're either going to
Mhm.
hurt because um, you decided not to chase a goal, or you're going to hurt from being tired because you're chasing your goals.
Which one feels better?
I mean, it's got to be the pain of success.
I,
It's
I
got to
would
be.
agree. I would agree.
So,
So what have you been doing since because you're down a pretty substantial amount there, right?
well, first, thanks for saying that because I'm more than willing to say it's not that big a deal.
But
But
it is.
so, right, it's like, I wish I had my calculator.
And I think we're and we're in the same boat, and I'll
Yeah,
tell my story in a second here. But I think it's easy for us to go, oh man, that's not that much because we look at our past successes,
yeah.
right? But we got to take each success one at a time, right? A
And I'm
pound at a time.
I'm down 40 pounds right now.
40. Yeah.
Well, it's like
And that's
38,
that's
but
and that's nothing to, that's a freaking bag of dog food.
here's the thing. That first time in 2000, when I can tell you the exact day that it all fell apart. When
This
I
man's
was
got a memory like a bear trap.
But no, it was just that once it was so significant to me. I started at 265, and the lowest I got to was 220. That was 45 pounds lost.
Yeah. Yeah. And then why is that any
I'm only
different,
7
right?
pounds away from that right now.
Yeah.
But I look at it as minimal, as in,
Because you're at the higher percentage, right? You're looking at total percentage lost, right?
yeah,
And I think that's something common for us to do, but it should be celebrated just as much
right,
because guess what? It's the same freaking amount.
yeah.
So,
So
yeah.
I've my pride gets in the way. My wife has for a long time been encouraged me to walk, and I'm like, walking is nothing. Like so, but I knew that I had to start slow because if not, I was going to injure myself again. So I just started walking. I
Yeah.
started walking a mile a day. Then that went to 2 miles a day, and then now I do 2 2 mile walks a day. So a total of 4 miles a day. And then really just tracking my calories. So
Yeah.
um,
So right now your regiment essentially since you've lost almost 40 pounds is from walking and counting calories.
I would say it the other way. I would say counting calories and walking because
Yeah.
the stuff that I've read, like your exercise does very little to actually make you lose weight because if you eat if you eat more than you burn,
You gain weight.
you're
I
gaining
mean,
weight.
it's science, right? And vice versa.
Yeah,
So,
but
yeah.
it does a lot to maintain weight loss, but it keeps me focused, dude. Like it keeps me. It's the pattern in my life. If eating bad, if eating well goes away, working out goes away as well. Or if working out or exercising goes away, um, eating well goes with it. So that's what I. So that's you know what I've been doing now. Just really just getting out on a walk, and the big thing is doing it when I don't feel like doing it. Because in the middle of it, I feel like I'm loving it. If I can convince myself to get out of the door, I love going out and walking.
I
Um,
feel you. I feel you on that.
and I don't know that I would feel the same getting on a Peloton bike, but getting out the door because that looks really hard to me.
No, so it's the same thing. And right now I've been walking for
Yeah.
the past month because of a saddle sore issue.
Hmm.
But it's like,
Saddle sore.
it,
That has something to do with your down belows.
yeah, not fun. Um, but I would say that like, and you get this because I'm also 6 foot over 300 pounds,
Yeah.
right? And being a quote unquote manly man, right? How many times have we been like cardio? Puh,
Yeah.
that's for little people. Or you go walking. Uh, my grandmother walks for
Right.
exercise, right? I'm a big bad man. I can't do that, and I will tell you, holy crap, the workout I get walking is
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. And you
So
can start challenging yourself, like to do a certain, like you do the 2 miles faster. Um,
yeah,
so Parker and I I'm just real quick how I met Parker. We're both fans of Atlanta United, and we're both members of Footy Mob, Hootie Hoo,
Booty
and
who?
we so we met. I'm sure we met at Footy Mob tailgates, and then but we
Yeah.
really started talking and hanging out at the Atlanta United two matches that were being played over at Coolray Field um, before they moved to Kennesaw. Boo,
R.I.P.
boo. Um, but yeah, man, it was so cool to go there and tailgate, and that's where I started getting to know Parker. He would show up with this cooler that was full of beer from like a year and a half ago. So when you took a drink of it, it'd leave rust marks on your lip from the bottle
Mm,
cap.
tasty.
um, but yeah, I would bring my daughter out and all that. So we started to get to know each other then, and just through Footy Mob. And during my kind of weight loss journey, I didn't realize that Parker was kind of doing his own thing. Um, but something popped up on either my Facebook or Instagram, and Parker was talking about his streaming that he does on Reddit, and that really intrigued me because I've been wanting to find someone to do a podcast with, because I had been going through a lot of these things as far as health and fitness and all that, and really trying to. I wanted a platform to be able to talk to people, and Parker was feeling a lot of those same things, and he was getting a great response, and that proved to me, acknowledged that there are people that are out there that are hungry for that encouragement, and they want to feel like they are acknowledged and valued, and the things they're struggling with are normal. And
Yeah.
so I reached out to Parker, and it's been a couple months we've been talking about it, and this is our first go at it. So it's not as good as it's going to be, but it's exciting nonetheless.
Y'all stick around and find out, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so I'll go real quick. What I my story as far as my weight loss journey and where I've been and where I am now. So at my heaviest, I'm also 6 foot tall. At my heaviest, I was over 380 pounds. And I remember in my college age going, man, if I ever get above 300 pounds, I might as well just jump off a bridge, right? And I remember like saying that to my now wife. And, then time crept up, In high school, I was an athlete. I played football, played soccer. I was uh, track and field, uh, mainly on the field side, and I rode BMX. Yeah, I did discus, but I rode BMX going through my middle and high school years and into my college. And then college age, I actually boxed
Oh wow.
semi-professionally, and yeah, I was a six-time undefeated, undisputed heavyweight champion. But at
All right.
boxing, yeah, boxing, I used to walk around at 235, but I'd cut weight down to 215 for fights, and
Mm-hmm.
I I was a beast. You could see my abs. I mean, I was ripped. It was never again, right? And then through injuries and through life and through working at a sedentary job, guess what? You know, I gained weight. Stress through life, gain weight. I often get asked on stream, PK, which is what they call me over there. You can know me as Parker here on the
No,
podcast, but
let's keep you as PK because that's your superhero name.
superhero name. So it's yeah, it's it got up through time, and life got ahead of me, and next thing through similar to Rob's story, I I'd do a diet, I'd lose 30, 40 pounds. I'd gain it back and then some. And it kind of did that through quite some time. Well,
And that's
uh,
that's important to like. We need to make sure people understand. When we talk about losing and gaining this weight back, we're not talking about it happening over the course of a few months. Like we're talking, like for me in my
Uh,
case, it was decades, right?
yes, and same, right?
Yeah,
I would say the past 15 years, well, yeah, 15 years, um, uh, gaining over 200 pounds, right? Or close to 200 pounds, I
yeah,
should say. And it's in a roller coaster wise, it'd go down, it'd go back up, it'd go down. I tried all the diets, so finally I got to the point where I was like, eh, and I think it's important to tell you, I did go to the doctor that much because, like many big people, we try to stay away from the doctor because
yeah.
you don't want to hear the bad news. So I go to the doctor, we get some blood work done. This is last year. Um, I knew I was whatever report I was going to get back was not going to be favorable. The
Hmm.
typical pre-diabetic, right? Insulin resistant thing came back, bad cholesterol, all that fun stuff.
I'm glad you said
Um,
that because I forgot to check my blood sugar, so I'm gonna do that now while you talk.
there you go. Hey, fat people unite. Um, and then these are all things, and 100%. I've had non-alcoholic fatty liver disease
Hmm.
since I was shoot over 10 years. Um, and then it turns into, guess what? Hey, uh, all of these things with your health are 100% regular. You could get rid of it
Yeah,
just by losing weight. And they always say just by losing weight, right? But just losing weight is not that big of a deal, is it? Oh wait, yeah, it is. So, um,
yeah, dude. I don't even get me started on
if you just lost some
why don't
weight,
you just lose weight, dude?
yeah.
Just a quick
Uh,
update. My blood sugar is 119, so I'm really proud of that. Go ahead.
there you go. There you go. So then I had a decision to make, and I've looked at this for a few times, and then I was getting to the point where if I don't lose weight, it's going to lead down a bad path. I'm going to die early, right? I decided to go and try to get gastric bypass done. And this past October, I would have had gastric bypass, but I was turned down 2 weeks out from my surgery date due to an insurance loophole that said you can't show us from medical proof that you've been obese for more than 3 years. Well, I can't show you that
Because I never
because
went to the doctor because I
I
was obese.
there you go. And I didn't want to hear it. So at that point in time, I had a decision to make, Rob. And the decision was, do I wait 2 years and go the route of gastric bypass? Or do I say I'm going to take this bull by the horns and tackle it myself? And I decided to go the hard way. And I'm not saying gastric bypass is easy. It's not. And many people need it. But I'll also say that I ended up having to go the path of more resistance and lose the weight myself. So since October, I'm down 50 pounds. And I've streamed the process on Reddit. I've gotten a lot of great reception, and we've ended up where we have people on a regular basis from all over the world tune in and follow, and that has kind of started the Haba na Haba thing. And
Yeah, talk about that too in a minute.
yeah, so Haba na Haba is a old saying that is Swahili, and it means little by little. So the old saying in Swahili, the whole thing is Haba na Haba hujaza kibaba, which means little by little fills the cup. A large portion of why I kind of have done all my social media and so forth around that is because this is going to take some time. I don't want to lose weight quickly.
Hmm.
I want to do it naturally. I want to do it to where it stays off. And I want to do it to where I can hopefully inspire other people to become better than what they were the day before. And that's what our whole platform is based around. Um, so yeah, if you guys see a big guy with a beard on Reddit that's either riding his Peloton or walking or working out, chances are you see me.
Whether you
So
like it or
glad
not.
to have you guys. Yeah, whether you like it or not, damn it.
I
So
think
yeah,
I think that it's something you talked about before is really interesting in that I think there's a I'd like to see like we could talk about mental illness in our country right now, but then
oh yeah,
and obviously everybody's talking about that, and it's it's something that's been being talked about for a little while, but also um, for even longer, people have been talking about the obesity epidemic, right? Especially here in the states.
yeah.
Um, I think that there's probably some kind of correlation there because I know for
Oh,
me, like my obviously there are physical reasons why I'm overweight because of my
right.
because what the food that I take in compared to the um, physical activity I'm not doing biologically, I'm going to gain weight and be heavy.
Hmm.
But so I understand that, but there are emotional and mental reasons uh, why as well.
Absolutely, absolutely, dude. And here's why, right? Um, eating eating disorders are classified as a mental health thing,
Hmm.
and I guarantee, and having to go through and almost have gastric, I was with a dietitian once a month for like 7 months, going through everything. I had to see a psychologist, and part of that is, guess what? Surprise, surprise. I was a binge eater.
Yeah.
What? Well, that's a eating disorder technically, right? Um, and you have to learn behaviorally how to get around that. And I think part of what we want to achieve is to help out with that mental health aspect of it, right? And talk
Right. And
about the ups and
we're
downs,
not psychologists or psychiatrists or anything, but we are
or
both
medical
right.
medical
Yes.
professionals at all. So any advice you get here on the Loud Rooster podcast,
Yes. You might want to
take with
bounce
a
it off
grain of
your yeah,
salt.
bounce it off your doctor. But I will tell you this: we, well, I won't speak for Parker, but for myself, um, I am daily fighting the demons within my own head, as far as
Oh,
my exercise
always.
and my value as a person. And one of the things I love about Parker is that, and him doing this with me is that he's not afraid to be vulnerable as well. He's not afraid to be honest. And that's something that I didn't want to do for a long time was be honest with myself about where I was, where I was going. Um, but until you can really do that, you're just not gonna. The change isn't gonna. The change that's needed is not gonna come.
I would agree. Yeah. So, and part of what we want to do here is help out with that, and eventually we'll have guests on here, multiple different guests from multiple different backgrounds
Yeah.
that can help with that, and maybe even have some medical professionals on.
Hmm.
They can talk to those points, but I think it's important for you guys as our fans to tell us what you want.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely. And
we
so
want to know.
yeah. So you can email us. I'm not sure, Parker. Do we have yours set up yet? No. So you can email me
No,
at
we don't yet.
um, loudroosterrob@gmail.com. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter at the Loud Rooster Podcast. We'd love to interact with you. Like that's what this is all about.
Oh,
Um,
100%. And we want to know how you guys are succeeding. We want to know how you guys are failing, because the failures are almost just as important as the successes to talk about.
I, I, I'm
Because
gonna. I don't want to call them failures.
okay,
It just hit me
what do
when
you
you
want to
said
call them?
that.
What do you want to call them?
Struggles.
Struggles,
I
yeah,
don't want to
barriers.
call, and I have a reason why if I could, you let me get into it for a minute.
Yeah, do it, man.
So there's this thing that there's this challenge out there called 75 Hard. And I can't remember the guy's name, but he's intense. He has a podcast that I've listened to. He's on YouTube. But if you look up 75 Hard, his stuff will come up. And the guy, he's a beast. I mean, he's just, his discipline and,
Oh, it is. He is disciplined, just like Batman is vengeance.
yeah, I mean, he's unreal. So he started this challenge, 75 days. And so the challenge is for 75 days. Um, Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. 75 Hard. And he has a book that goes with it. Andy Frisella, I think is his name.
Yeah.
Um, so you choose a healthy diet and you follow it for 75 days. There's no alcohol allowed. You work out twice a day, every day, for at least 45 minutes each, and one workout must be outside. Drink 1 gallon of water a day. Take progress pictures every single day, and read 10 pages of a nonfiction book every day. So the goal is to do that for 75 days straight, and if you miss out on any one of those, if you eat anything off of your diet, if you only drink a quarter, 3/4 of a gallon of water, or you don't, you only read 8 pages, or you only you didn't take a progress picture, you start all over. So on day 73, excuse me, on day 73, if you miss out on one of those things, you have to start over the next day on day one. And I'll be honest, I was all about trying to do this because I'm already doing 45 minutes of exercise a day. I'm staying on my diet. I'm trying to drink a gallon of water. I'm not reading 10 pages a day. But I mean, those are things that I was like, well, I can add these things and try it out. But then I started to be honest with, like, looking back on my approach to getting healthy and eating and exercising, and realizing that this is the worst challenge for me because of that failure aspect. That
Yeah. So, and I
it's
think it's all right to know it works for some people,
yeah, dude. If you got that discipline, man, that is awesome. Do it.
but but let's talk about this. If you have that discipline, why are you there in that case already?
Well, yeah. I mean, I get what you're saying, but like this all or nothing mentality that I had, that I think is required to do something like that, um, is a it's bittersweet because when you have that all or nothing mentality, I mean, literally nobody could nobody could shake you from what you're doing. Like you're so focused and tuned in. Like, dude, if I would order a salad, I would from Chili's, I would tell them no corn, no tortilla strips. Like I was like, because I knew corn had a lot of sugar in it. There were all these carbs in the tortilla strips and all this stuff. Like I was literally all or nothing. And because I was all or nothing, I had great success. But then the minute that I messed up, it was done. I felt like I was worthless. Like, so that whole starting over thing. And I don't like that idea of starting over because you're not starting over, dude. Even if you only got to day 30 in that, if you messed up, you are still literally miles ahead of where you were.
Yes.
Like you committed to 30 days of improving your mental health, your physical health, your emotional health. You fought through um, all your brain telling you to do things or not to do things. And I just saw Parker's wife with a towel on her head. I don't know what's going on over there, but everybody's into different things. But dude, like the work that you put in does not just disappear because you missed one workout.
No, no, it doesn't.
And that's why we ended up where we were, that after working out and being focused, and then we lose a workout, or we, eat something off of our diet, everything just goes to crap. And a year, 5 years down the road, 20 years down the road, whatever, you're looking back on it, it's like, how can that one little thing have such a hugely negative impact on me? And it's that all or nothing thing. It has to be sustainable. And at the end of that 75 days, what are you going to do? What are you going to
You're
do?
good, apparently. You're good, apparently,
Yeah.
after that, right?
So do you
So, and I,
take a break and then start it over again? Like, I don't know. It's just not sustainable to me. And
yeah,
maybe it's not meant for somebody like me that's, almost 400
so I think
pounds.
it's important. I think it's important also, though, Rob, to moral of that story is there's a program out there for everyone. Or if there's not a program, you make your own program, but you need to figure out what works for you, and it's not what works for the next person.
Yeah.
Because I get advice all the time on stream. And I a lot of the times I want to go like, hey, I know that works. I know intermittent fasting works for a lot of people. It doesn't work for me. I know that I could lift weights and burn more calorie over time than doing cardio. That doesn't work for me, right? And it's important to find what works for you. And I think that's part of what we're going to talk about on a regular basis here.
I mean, you've lost 50 pounds.
Yeah.
You've lost 50 pounds doing what you've been doing, and somebody wants to come in and say, dude, you should do something different. Why?
Oh, yeah.
Why would you do something different?
Well, because everyone's an expert on the internet, my friend.
Yeah.
But I think that's important to talk about and know that, you'll get advice from everybody, but at the end of the day, it's what's working for you that matters.
Yeah.
And we're going to give advice all through all these weekly podcasts. But I think it's important to know that take what you think's going to work for you and utilize it. And if you don't think it's going to work for you, throw it off to the side and find what will.
Yeah.
Because the most important thing is that you're making that first step and you're trying. And if you're doing that first step and you're trying and you're seeing failure, wait, let's not use failure. You're seeing barriers
and struggles. Yeah.
Then guess what? You're succeeding.
Yep.
Because you're putting that first step forward. And that's more important than not attempting because you're afraid of the failure. And I'm using failure there.
Yeah. You can't be afraid of the failure.
And that's a wake-up call.
Absolutely it is. Dude, I'm really excited.
I am too, man. I'm excited to have everybody here join us. So make sure you throw in on our Facebook page, Loud Rooster Podcast Facebook page, over on Twitter, over on Instagram. And if you got any emails that you need to send in on requests or what you want to do, make sure you throw it over to Rob.
Yeah,
Rob, what's that email form again?
loudroosterrob@gmail.com for now. And Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter is the Loud Rooster Podcast. We want to hear about your successes so we can celebrate with you. We want to hear about your struggles so that we can help you either stay on track or get back on track. We want you to know that you are worthy of your efforts, and you're doing a great job. If you're doing something, you're doing a great job.
Any progress is progress.
Absolutely. That's something that we just can't forget, and we do way too much. So you guys are great. Can't wait to talk to you and interact with you and see what you guys are doing. I'm Rob and he's Parker, and this has been the Loud Rooster Podcast. Peace out.
Stay solid.